The meeting room on Nexus Prime Station was huge. The walls were made of clear crystal that showed the stars outside. Ambassador Hyunwoo sat at the long table, looking at the strange beings across from him. They were nothing like humans. The Veltari looked like tall walking crystals. Light moved through their bodies in different colors when they talked. The Kethmar were more like giant bugs with too many arms and eyes that never stopped moving. Both groups made Hyunwoo feel small, but he tried not to show it. "We have looked at your files," said War Marshal Zexthul. The crystal being's voice sounded like wind through glass. "Your species wants to join the Galactic Council, but first we must talk about your military." Hyunwoo nodded. He had been ready for this question. Every species that joined the Council had to prove they could help protect the galaxy from threats. "What would you like to know?" The Kethmar delegate, who had 6 arms and compound eyes, pulled up a holographic screen. Video footage began to play. Hyunwoo watched human soldiers moving through a space station. They wore simple gray uniforms and carried basic rifles. The soldiers moved fast and worked together like they had done this 1,000 times before. "This is from the Crimson Fleet incident 3 months ago," the Kethmar clicked. "Your warriors destroyed the most feared pirate group in this sector. The Crimson Fleet had ships and weapons that could level cities. They had never lost a battle in 50 years. On the screen, Hyunwoo watched the human soldiers clear room after room. They moved like water, flowing around corners and through doorways. When pirates tried to fight back, the humans were already gone, appearing somewhere else. The pirates never had a chance. "Very impressive," said the Veltari representative. "These must be your finest warrior priests, your most elite soldiers, the ones you trained from birth for combat." Hyunwoo looked confused. He watched the footage again, trying to see what made the aliens think this. "I'm sorry, but those aren't elite soldiers. That's just the 47th Infantry Division." The room went quiet. All the aliens stopped moving. Even the colors in the Veltari's body stopped changing. "Just infantry," the Kethmar whispered. "Regular soldiers?" "Yes," Hyunwoo said, still not understanding why they looked so shocked. "They're good soldiers, but they're just regular army. Nothing special." Colonel Da-hoon, who sat next to Hyunwoo as the military advisor, spoke up. "The 47th is actually one of our newer units. Most of those soldiers have less than 2 years of service." The aliens looked at each other with what Hyunwoo could only guess was fear. The Veltari's body started flashing red and yellow lights very fast. "If these are your common soldiers," the war marshal said slowly, "what are your elite forces like?" Da-hoon shrugged. "Well, we have special forces, rangers, SEALs, Delta Force. Those guys are something else entirely. But their files are classified. Can't really talk about what they do." One of the Kethmar fell off its chair. The others rushed to help it up, making clicking sounds that might have been panic. "You have multiple levels above this?" another Veltari asked. "Of course," Hyunwoo said, thinking this was obvious. "Every military has different units for different jobs. The regular army handles most things. Special forces handle the really difficult stuff." The war marshal's crystal body had turned completely white. "Show us more footage of your regular forces." The screen changed to show different scenes. Human soldiers training on Earth. The aliens watched as men and women ran through obstacle courses, carrying heavy packs and weapons. They moved through simulated battles, working together without even talking to each other. "This is basic training," Da-hoon explained. "Every soldier goes through this before they join their unit. It's just the minimum standard." A young Kethmar turned to an older one and made rapid clicking sounds. The older one clicked back, sounding upset. "What are they saying?" Hyunwoo asked. The war marshal translated. The young one said that your basic training looks harder than our elite military academies. The elder told him to be quiet before the humans hear him. Hyunwoo and Da-hoon looked at each other. This was getting strange. "I don't understand," Hyunwoo said. "Are you saying our soldiers seem too strong? Because I can assure you we're a peaceful species. We only fight when we have to defend ourselves or others." "Too strong?" The Veltari's body flashed bright blue. "Your regular soldiers destroyed the Crimson Fleet in 4 hours. The Crimson Fleet had defeated 3 council battle groups, our best warriors, and you did it with what you call common infantry. The pirates weren't that tough," Da-hoon said casually. "They had good equipment but poor discipline. No teamwork. They fought like individuals instead of a unit. Basic tactics were enough to beat them." More clicking came from the Kethmar side of the table. It sounded like an argument. "Now what are they saying?" Hyunwoo asked. They're debating whether humans are lying about these being common soldiers or if your species is naturally this dangerous, the war marshal said. Some think you're trying to hide your true strength. Others think this really is normal for you. Hyunwoo felt tired. Look, I brought our military records. You can see our training methods, our equipment, our organization. We're not hiding anything. These really are just regular soldiers doing their jobs. A Kethmar with gold markings on its shell spoke up. On your homeworld, do all citizens receive military training? No, Dahoon answered. Most people never serve in the military. These soldiers chose to join. They volunteer, so they're not even conscripts forced to fight? That's right. They wanted to be soldiers. The aliens made more disturbing sounds. The Veltari were flashing so many colors now that it hurt to look at them. Let me understand, the war marshal said carefully. These humans chose to become soldiers. They trained for less than 2 years. They use standard equipment, they follow basic tactics, and they can defeat enemies that have terrorized this sector for decades. When you put it that way, it does sound impressive, Hyunwoo admitted. But really, they're just doing their jobs. Good soldiers, but not exceptional by our standards. Not exceptional, one of the Kethmar repeated quietly. What would you consider exceptional? Asked the war marshal. Dahoon thought for a moment. Well, there was that incident on Proxima Station, but that was Ghost Battalion, and I really can't talk about classified operations. Ghost Battalion, Special Operations Unit. They handle the really tricky situations that regular forces can't manage. The room fell silent again. Hyunwoo could hear the quiet humming of the station's air systems. He looked around at the alien faces, trying to figure out what he had said wrong. Finally, the war marshal spoke. We need to discuss this among ourselves. Could you please wait outside while we deliberate? Of course, Hyunwoo said, standing up. Take all the time you need. As they walked out of the room, Hyunwoo heard excited chittering and crystal chiming behind them. The aliens were definitely upset about something, but he couldn't figure out what. Did we say something wrong? He asked Dahoon. The colonel shrugged. Beats me. I thought the meeting was going well. Behind them, through the crystal walls, they could see the aliens making rapid gestures and flashing lights. Whatever they were discussing, it seemed very important to them. Hyunwoo just hoped humanity would still be welcome in the Galactic Council when they were done talking. 3 weeks after the meeting at Nexus Prime Station, strange things started happening across the galaxy. Captain So-Young first noticed it when her merchant ship Soul's Pride docked at Kepler Trade Station. The station master, a tall blue-skinned Altarian, ran up to her ship before she even finished docking. He was sweating and looked nervous. Captain So-Young, welcome back to Kepler Station. Please, anything you need, just ask. Free docking fees this time, and fuel is half price for your ship. So-Young stared at him. She had been trading at this station for 3 years, and the station master had always been rude to human traders. He usually made them wait hours for docking permission and charged extra fees for everything. That's very kind, she said carefully. But why the special treatment? The Altarian glanced at her 4 Marine escorts. Private Jinwoo, Corporal Minho, Sergeant Yu Jin, and Private Haeyoung were just standing there in their simple blue uniforms, looking bored. They were regular Marines assigned to protect merchant ships from pirates. Nothing special about them. You're guards, the station master whispered. We heard about human soldiers. We want to show proper respect. So-Young looked at her Marines again. Jinwoo was barely 20 years old and spent most of his time reading books. Minho liked to cook and always shared his food with the crew. They were nice young people, but they didn't seem scary. They're just Marines, she said. Regular military escort. Standard protection for merchant vessels. The station master went pale blue, which So-Young had learned meant fear in Altarians. Regular? He repeated quietly. Is something wrong? Sergeant Yu Jin asked, walking over. She was a small woman with a friendly smile. We're not causing any problems, are we? The station master stepped back quickly. No problems. No problems at all. Everything is perfect. Please enjoy your stay. He ran away so fast that So-Young thought he might hurt himself. That was weird, said Private Haeyoung. What's got him so scared? So-Young didn't know, but she was about to find out that this was happening everywhere humans went. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Dong-Soo was having similar experiences. His cargo hauler stopped at a fuel depot in the Vega system. The depot was run by a group of Kethmar traders who usually charged human ships extra fees and made them wait in long lines. This time, They cleared a priority docking bay and had fuel crews ready before his ship even finished approaching. The depot manager, a large Kethmar with expensive shell decorations, personally came to greet him. "Honored human captain," the manager clicked in broken standard. "We are so pleased to serve you. No waiting, no fees. We prepared our finest fuel mixture for your ship." "That's not necessary," Dongsu said. "Just regular fuel is fine. Or please, we insist. Also, we have fresh supplies. Food, water, whatever you need. Our gift to show respect for human military." Dongsu looked confused. "Military? I'm not military. I'm just a cargo hauler." The Kethmar's eyes widened. "But your escort?" Dongsu looked at his security team. Two Marines in standard gray uniforms stood near the cargo ramp. Lance Corporal Bo Ram and Private Tai Kyung were young Marines on their first assignment. They looked like kids to him. "They're just regular Marines," Dongsu said. "Every human merchant ship has a small military escort. It's standard procedure." The manager made rapid clicking sounds to his workers. They all started moving even faster, practically throwing supplies at Dongsu's ship. "Standard procedure," the manager repeated. "Yes, of course. We understand." But his clicking sounded terrified. Meanwhile, in the darker corners of space, word was spreading through criminal networks. The Crimson Fleet had been destroyed by human soldiers. Not their elite forces, not their special units, regular army troops. Pirate lords who had ruled trade routes for decades suddenly found themselves looking over their shoulders. The Bruthen clans, who were famous for their warrior culture and had conquered 12 star systems, issued new orders to all their ships: avoid human vessels at all costs. War Chief Grakthar of the Bruthen had seen the footage of human soldiers in action. The humans moved like they could read each other's minds. They never wasted a shot or made a wrong step. They fought like machines, but with a creativity that no machine could match. "They call these regular soldiers," he told his war council. "If these are their common troops, what are their warriors like?" Old Bruthen legends spoke of warrior gods who could defeat armies alone. Grakthar was starting to think humans might be those legends come to life. The fear spread faster than any virus. Trade routes that had been plagued by pirates for centuries suddenly became safe, not because human ships patrolled them, but because criminals were too scared to operate there. On Earth, people were starting to notice that alien attitudes toward humans had changed, but they didn't understand why. General Taiho sat in his office reading recruitment reports. Something strange was happening. Alien mercenary groups were applying to join the human military. The applications came from species that had never worked with humans before. A group of Veltari warriors had sent a formal request to serve in the human army. Their application letter was written in careful standard English. "We humbly request to join your legendary common forces. We understand we may not meet your high standards, but we promise to train hard and learn your superior fighting methods. We have heard that even your basic soldiers are beyond our elite warriors. Please give us a chance to serve alongside your regular infantry." General Taiho read the letter 3 times. He couldn't understand what they were talking about. Human soldiers were good, but they weren't superhuman. They trained hard and worked well together, but so did lots of other species. He called up footage from a recent training exercise. Private Jin A from Busan was going through basic combat training. She moved through the obstacle course, fired at targets, and worked with her team to complete objectives. It was good soldiering, but nothing that seemed special to him. What General Taiho didn't know was that this same footage had been leaked to galactic networks. Security cameras at the training base had been hacked by alien intelligence services trying to learn about human military capabilities. The footage showed Jin A doing things that alien military experts thought were impossible. She hit targets while moving at full speed. She cleared obstacles that would challenge their best athletes. She worked with her team using hand signals and eye contact, communicating without words. To General Taiho, this was just a regular soldier doing regular training. To alien observers, it looked like a demonstration of superhuman abilities. The intelligence reports were spreading through government networks across the galaxy. Every species that belonged to the Galactic Council was getting briefings about human military capabilities. A typical report read, "Human forces demonstrate abilities far beyond previous estimates. Subjects show enhanced physical capabilities, tactical awareness, and unit cohesion. Recommend upgrading threat assessment from moderate to extreme. Note, these abilities appear to be standard across all human military personnel, not limited to elite units." What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had evolved on a world that was trying to kill them every day. Earth was full of predators, diseases, natural disasters, and hostile environments. Humans had survived by becoming adaptable, tough, and smart. Every human carried the genes of survivors. They were the descendants of people who had lived through ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have wiped out other species. When humans joined the military, they weren't becoming something different from normal humans. They were just learning to use abilities that all humans had. But to aliens who had evolved on safer worlds, human baseline capabilities looked like magic. The misunderstanding was growing bigger every day. Humans thought they were just being normal. Aliens thought they were looking at a species of natural-born warriors who were pretending to be normal. Captain So Young was still confused about why everyone was being so nice to her, but she wasn't complaining. Her shipping business had never been better. Routes that used to be dangerous were now completely safe. Suppliers were offering discounts and priority service. She still didn't understand that her 4 young Marines had accidentally become the most feared security force in 3 sectors, just by existing and being normal human soldiers. The legend was growing, and the humans had no idea it was happening. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's history. Representatives from 43 species gathered in the Great Hall on Nexus Prime Station. They all looked worried. War Marshal Zexthul stood at the center of the room, his crystal body glowing with urgent colors. "The Void Swarm has consumed another system," he announced. "The Kepler 442 system is gone. 3 billion lives lost." Murmurs of fear spread through the assembly. The Void Swarm was every species' nightmare. They were creatures of pure hunger that consumed everything in their path. They had no government, no reason, no mercy. They just ate planets and moved on to the next system. 3 Council fleets have tried to stop them, the War Marshal continued. All 3 fleets were destroyed. "The Swarm's ships are too fast, too many. They adapt to our weapons faster than we can use them." A Kethmar representative clicked nervously. "What can we do? If our combined fleets cannot stop them, who can?" The room fell silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but nobody wanted to say it. Finally, Ambassador Hyunwoo spoke up from the human section. "The Council wants us to help?" "Yes," said the War Marshal. "We know your species is capable. Perhaps your elite forces could find a way to stop the swarm." Hyunwoo looked at Admiral Sang-min, who had come to the meeting as Earth's military representative. The Admiral was a calm man with gray hair and steady eyes. He had fought in the Border Wars and the Titan Rebellion, but he had never heard of anything like the Void Swarm. "How big is this swarm?" Admiral Sang-min asked. "Our best estimates suggest over 10,000 ships," replied a Veltari scientist. "They move in coordinated groups and can strip a planet bare in days. They consume everything, plants, animals, even the atmosphere and water." Admiral Sang-min nodded thoughtfully. "Sounds like a pest control problem. I can have the 3rd Fleet there in a week." The aliens stared at him. A Kethmar delegate fell off his chair again. The Veltari representatives were flashing so many colors they looked like they were having seizures. "The 3rd Fleet?" the War Marshal managed to say. "Your elite units?" "No, just regular fleet operations," Admiral Sang-min replied. "The 3rd Fleet handles standard threat response. They're good at cleaning up messes like this." More panicked clicking and crystal chiming filled the room. The aliens couldn't believe what they were hearing. The humans were treating the most dangerous threat in galactic history like it was routine work. 1 week later, the 3rd Fleet arrived at the edge of the Rigel system, where the Void Swarm was preparing to attack another inhabited world. The Council had sent observer ships to record what they expected to be humanity's elite forces in action. Admiral Sang-min stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Soul. He looked out at the swarm ships gathering around the planet. There were thousands of them, black twisted things that looked more like living creatures than spaceships. "Standard deployment," he ordered. "Treat this as a Category 3 infestation. All ships prepare for pest control operations." The human fleet spread out in formations that the alien observers didn't recognize. They had expected to see advanced weapons or mysterious technology. Instead, they saw regular Earth Defense Force ships using standard tactics. On the surface of the planet below, Sergeant Mi-kyung was leading her Marines through the capital city. The local population had been evacuated, but some Void Swarm creatures had already landed and were consuming everything they could find. The creatures looked like giant insects mixed with machinery. They had sharp claws that could cut through metal and acid that could melt stone. Each one was the size of a truck and moved faster than most vehicles. To the alien observers watching through drone cameras, these creatures were monsters from nightmares. They had destroyed elite council military units. They had eaten entire armies. To Sergeant Mi-kyung, they looked like big bugs that needed to be stepped on. "Standard formation," she called to her squad. "Watch your crossfire and remember to aim for the joint sections. These things are just big roaches." Private Wu Jin raised his rifle and started firing. Each shot hit exactly where he aimed, punching through the creature's armor at the weak points. The monsters that had terrorized 3 sectors fell down like they were made of paper. "Too easy," complained Lance Corporal de Young. "I thought this was supposed to be dangerous." The alien observers couldn't believe what they were seeing. The humans moved through the infested city like they were taking a walk in the park. They talked casually while fighting creatures that gave experienced soldiers nightmares. Lieutenant Junsik was coordinating artillery support from a rooftop. He spoke into his radio with the same tone someone might use to order lunch. "Fire mission, grid reference 337442. Multiple targets, standard high explosive. Danger close is not a concern." The artillery shells landed exactly where they needed to, clearing out a nest of void swarm creatures without damaging any of the surrounding buildings. In space, the battle was going just as easily. The Third Fleet had surrounded the swarm ships and was systematically destroying them. The creatures' ability to adapt to new weapons didn't help them because the humans weren't using any new weapons. They were using the same basic tactics that had worked for centuries. Captain Insu commanded one of the destroyer escorts. His ship was old and simple compared to some of the advanced vessels in the council fleets. But his crew knew their jobs and worked together like they were all part of the same machine. "Target the command nodes first," he ordered. "Take out their coordination and the rest will be easy to clean up." The Void Swarm had never faced an enemy that ignored their adaptive capabilities. The creatures were designed to learn from each attack and develop defenses, but the humans weren't giving them time to adapt. They were hitting too hard and too fast. The alien observers watched in amazement as human ships moved through the swarm formation like sharks through a school of fish. Every shot found its target. Every maneuver put them in the perfect position for the next attack. "How are they doing this?" asked a Veltari observer on one of the monitoring ships. "The swarm should have adapted to their tactics by now." A Kethmar analyst was studying the tactical displays. "They're not using complex tactics," he clicked in confusion. "Everything they're doing is basic military doctrine, but they're executing it perfectly." On the ground, Sergeant Mi-kyung's squad had cleared the entire commercial district and was moving toward the government center. They found a group of void swarm creatures trying to consume the planet's main computer database. "Can't let them eat the local internet," Mi-kyung said. "People get really upset when you mess with their data." She signaled for grenades. The squad threw them with practiced precision, clearing out the creatures without damaging any of the computer equipment. Private Wu Jin wiped sweat from his forehead. "This is easier than the training exercise we did last month," he said. "Remember when they made us fight those robot targets that could actually shoot back?" "Yeah, those were tough," agreed Da Young. "These things just run straight at you. No tactics at all." The alien observers heard this conversation through their surveillance equipment. They couldn't understand how humans could treat the most feared enemy in the galaxy like it was boring routine work. By the end of the day, the Void Swarm was gone. Not defeated, completely eliminated. Every ship destroyed, every ground creature killed, every trace of their presence removed from the system. Admiral Sang-min filed his after-action report with the same tone he might use to report a successful training exercise. Operation concluded successfully. Estimated enemy forces, 12,000 vessels plus ground elements. Total human casualties, none. Minor equipment damage to 3 ships. Recommend updating pest control protocols to include void swarm characteristics for future reference. The council observers were speechless. The threat that had consumed 3 star systems and destroyed multiple fleets had been eliminated by humans in less than 24 hours. And they had treated it like routine maintenance work. When the alien representatives asked Admiral Sang-min about his tactics, he seemed confused by the question. "No special tactics," he said, "just basic combined arms doctrine. Nothing we don't teach in the first year of military academy. The enemy had no real coordination and poor defensive capabilities. Textbook pest control operation. But these were your elite forces, correct?" asked the war marshal hopefully. "Elite forces?" Admiral Sang-min laughed. No, just regular fleet personnel. The Third Fleet is a standard response unit. We use them for routine patrol duties and minor threat response. Minor threats? Well, this was a bit bigger than usual, but nothing that required special units. If this had been really serious, we would have called in the Rangers or the Special Operations Command. The aliens made those terrified sounds again. The humans had just eliminated the greatest threat in galactic history, and they were calling it minor. As the human fleet prepared to return to Earth, Admiral Sang-min added one more thing to his report. Recommend classifying Void Swarm as Category 2 threat level. While numerous, they showed poor tactical awareness and predictable behavior patterns, should not require more than standard fleet response in future encounters. The Council realized that humanity's definition of standard response was going to change everything in the galaxy. After the Void Swarm incident, the Galactic Council was desperate for answers. They needed to understand how humanity could be so powerful while acting like they were nothing special. A formal diplomatic mission was organized to visit Earth itself. Ambassador Ye Jin met the alien delegation at Luna Station, humanity's main orbital facility around Earth's moon. She was excited to show off her homeworld to their new galactic neighbors. The delegation included War Marshal Zexthal, 3 Kethmar military analysts, 2 Veltari scientists, and representatives from 6 other species. They all looked nervous as their transport ship approached Earth. Welcome to the Sol system, Ye Jin said cheerfully. I hope you'll enjoy your visit. Earth is really quite lovely this time of year. Through the ship's windows, the aliens stared down at the blue and green planet below them. It looked peaceful and beautiful from space. White clouds swirled over vast oceans and green continents. It seems quiet, observed one of the Kethmar analysts. Oh, it is, Ye Jin agreed. Very peaceful. We've had no major wars for almost 50 years now. Just small conflicts here and there, but nothing serious. The aliens exchanged glances. Small conflicts? The humans considered the complete destruction of the Void Swarm a minor operation. What did they consider a major conflict? Their first stop was a basic training facility in South Korea. Colonel Yoon Jung, the base commander, gave them a tour of the grounds. She was proud of her training program and eager to show it off. This is where we turn civilians into soldiers, she explained, as they walked past groups of young people doing exercises. It takes about 16 weeks to meet our basic standards. The aliens watched human recruits running obstacle courses. The courses looked impossible. Walls too high to climb, pits too wide to jump, barriers that required perfect timing and coordination to pass. But the human trainees were completing them. Not easily, but they were doing it. Young people who had been civilians just weeks ago were performing feats that would challenge the finest athletes from most alien species. What kind of enhancement drugs do you give them? Asked a Veltari scientist. Colonel Yoon Jung looked confused. Enhancement drugs? We don't use any chemical enhancement. This is natural human capability development. Natural? The scientist's crystal body flickered with disbelief. These individuals are demonstrating physical abilities beyond most sentient species' maximum potential. Really? Colonel Yoon Jung watched a group of recruits carrying heavy packs while running up a steep hill. This is just basic fitness training. We need soldiers who can handle the physical demands of military service. Instructor Dong Hyun was working with a group of new recruits on combat training. He demonstrated basic hand-to-hand fighting techniques, moving with fluid grace that made the aliens step backward in alarm. Remember, he told his students, speed and precision are more important than strength. Use your opponent's momentum against them. Stay relaxed and think 3 moves ahead. One of the recruits, a young woman named Sujin, practiced the techniques. She moved awkwardly at first, but after a few tries she was throwing larger opponents with ease. Very good, Dong Hyun said. You're learning fast. In a few weeks, this will feel natural. The Kethmar military analysts were taking notes frantically. What they were seeing contradicted everything they knew about combat training. The humans were teaching advanced fighting techniques as if they were simple basics. These cannot be normal recruits, one of them clicked quietly to another. They must be selected from your warrior caste, Colonel Yoon Jung overheard. Warrior caste? We don't have castes. These recruits come from all backgrounds. Office workers, students, farmers, shop clerks. Anyone can join the military if they meet our basic requirements. What are your basic requirements? Physical fitness, mental stability, no serious criminal record. Pretty standard stuff. The aliens were having trouble processing this information. The humans were taking random civilians and turning them into warriors that could rival elite forces from other species. Their next stop was a military academy where officers were trained. The aliens expected to see the human elite, the warrior priests who commanded the regular soldiers. Instead, they found young people studying tactics, logistics, engineering, and leadership. The cadets looked like students at any university, except they were learning how to fight wars. Cadet Min Jun was giving a presentation on battle strategy. He used historical examples from human conflicts to explain tactical principles. The aliens listened with growing horror. The Battle of Gettysburg demonstrated the importance of terrain advantage, Min Jun explained casually. Over 50,000 casualties in 3 days, but the Union forces held their position and changed the course of the war. 50,000 casualties? Whispered Aveltari. In 3 days? That's right, Min Jun continued. Of course, that was with 19th century technology. Modern battles are much more efficient. The aliens realized that human history was full of conflicts that would be considered apocalyptic disasters by their standards, but humans talked about them like they were normal parts of their development. War Marshal Zexthul requested to see historical footage of human military conflicts. Colonel Eun-jung was happy to oblige, thinking it would help them understand human military doctrine. The footage started with World War II battles. The aliens watched in shocked silence as human armies fought across continents. Millions of soldiers engaged in campaigns that lasted for years. This is educational material, Colonel Eun-jung explained. We study these campaigns to understand tactical evolution and strategic planning. Educational material? A Kethmar analyst managed to say, yes, we use historical battles as training scenarios. Cadets study what worked and what didn't. It helps them understand the principles of warfare. The footage continued through various human conflicts. Korea, Vietnam, Gulf Wars, urban warfare, peacekeeping operations. Each example showed human soldiers adapting to different environments and enemies. Your species has been in constant warfare, observed the War Marshal. Not constant, Colonel Eun-jung corrected. We've had many peaceful periods too. But yes, conflict has been a major part of human history. It's shaped how we think about military organization and training. The aliens began to understand. Humans hadn't just evolved on a dangerous world. They had been fighting each other for thousands of years. Every generation had learned from the previous generation's wars. Human military doctrine wasn't just training. It was the accumulated wisdom of countless conflicts. When they asked about elite forces, Colonel Eun-jung mentioned the various special operations units. She showed them recruitment videos for special forces, Rangers, Navy SEALs, and other units. These are our specialized forces, she explained. They handle missions that require extra training and equipment. The recruitment videos showed soldiers doing things that the aliens couldn't believe. Humans swimming underwater for impossible distances, climbing vertical cliffs, jumping out of aircraft at night, fighting in conditions that would kill most species. What percentage of your military serves in these elite units? Asked a Kethmar. About 5%, Colonel Eun-jung replied. Most soldiers serve in regular units. The special forces only handle unusual situations. The math was terrifying. If regular human soldiers were already beyond most species' capabilities, and the elite forces were far above the regular soldiers, then humanity possessed military power that no other species could match. But the most frightening part was that the humans didn't seem to realize how dangerous they were. When Ambassador Ye Jin asked what they thought of Earth's military, War Marshal Zexthul struggled to find words. Your species is remarkable, he said carefully. We had no idea of your true capabilities. True capabilities? Ye Jin laughed. This is just our standard military. Nothing special. Most of our people never serve in the armed forces at all. We're primarily a peaceful civilization focused on exploration and trade. The War Marshal's crystal body flickered with what might have been despair. The humans considered their galaxy-conquering military to be a minor side activity. As the delegation prepared to leave Earth, they realized they were returning home with information that would change everything. Humanity wasn't just another species joining the Galactic Council. They were a species of natural-born warriors who had accidentally created the most powerful military force in galactic history, and they thought it was perfectly normal. The aliens flew away from the beautiful blue planet, knowing that the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted forever. and the humans were still wondering why everyone seemed so impressed by their regular soldiers. The delegation's final report would send shockwaves through every government in the galaxy. The peaceful-looking world they had just visited was home to a species that could end any war in the galaxy, without even trying hard, and they were friendly neighbors who just wanted to help. 6 months after the delegation returned from Earth, the galaxy was a very different place. The Galactic Council had voted unanimously to grant humanity full membership with a special status that had never been given to any species before. Humanity was designated as the primary peace enforcement species. It was a fancy way of saying that everyone was too scared to fight when humans were around. Commander Haiwan was starting to notice how strange her job had become. She commanded a patrol cruiser that flew regular routes through contested space. Her ship, the Busan, was just a standard escort vessel with a crew of 42 regular Navy personnel. But everywhere she went, wars seemed to stop happening. The Rigel sector had been having a territorial dispute between the Altarians and the Centauri Collective for 30 years. Both sides had been building up for what everyone expected to be a massive space battle. Then Commander Haiwan's ship arrived for a routine patrol. Within hours, both fleets had retreated to their home systems. The Altarian admiral sent a message saying they had decided to pursue diplomatic solutions instead of military action. The Centauri Collective announced they were focusing on internal development rather than expansion. Commander Haiwan filed her standard patrol report. Sector quiet. No incidents to report. Proceeding to next waypoint. She had no idea that both alien fleets had fled in terror at the sight of what their intelligence services told them was a human military reconnaissance vessel with standard crew complement. The same thing was happening all over the galaxy. Human ships didn't need to fire a shot or make any threats. They just had to show up. Private Junho was having an even more confusing experience. He had just finished basic training and been assigned to the cargo security detail for merchant protection duty. It was supposed to be boring work, riding along on trade ships to make sure pirates didn't cause trouble. Instead, everywhere he went, people treated him like he was some kind of superhero. At Vega Station, he got lost looking for the restroom and accidentally wandered into the wrong part of the station. He found himself in a warehouse where a group of Kethmar were loading suspicious cargo onto unmarked ships. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Could you tell me where the public facilities are?" The Kethmar took one look at his human military uniform and started clicking in panic. Within minutes, they had dropped their weapons, released 23 enslaved workers they had been trafficking, and surrendered to station security. "We surrender to the Human Special Forces operative," their leader clicked. "Please don't call in your assault teams." Junho stared at them in confusion. "I'm not Special Forces. I'm just looking for a bathroom." But the slavers didn't believe him. In their minds, no regular human soldier could have found their secret operation so easily. He must be an elite operative conducting a covert investigation. Station security later credited Private Junho with breaking up the largest slave trading ring in the sector. He still didn't understand what he had done, but he got a commendation letter from his commanding officer. The effect was spreading throughout human society. Civilian humans were starting to notice that aliens treated them with unusual respect and fear. Dr. Su Young was a medical researcher who had never served in the military. She was attending a scientific conference on Proxima Station to present her work on genetic therapy. At the conference, she found herself surrounded by alien scientists who kept asking her about human military medical enhancement programs. "I study genetic treatments for inherited diseases," she explained. "I'm not involved with military medicine at all." "But surely your research has military applications," insisted a Veltari scientist. "Human soldiers' regenerative capabilities must come from advanced medical technology." Dr. Su Young looked confused. "Regenerative capabilities? Humans heal at normal biological rates. We don't have any special regenerative abilities." The alien stared at her. They had seen footage of human soldiers recovering from injuries that would be fatal to their species, returning to duty in days or weeks. What they didn't understand was that humans were just naturally tougher than most species. A broken bone or torn muscle that would end a Veltari's military career was just a temporary inconvenience for a human. Back on Earth, Ambassador Hyunwoo was dealing with a flood of requests from other species. Everyone wanted to hire human military advisors, buy human weapons, or form defense alliances with Earth. The requests were getting more desperate every day. The Altarian Republic offered to trade their 3 richest star systems for a single company of human, regular infantry to guard their borders. The Kethmar Confederacy wanted to pay Earth's entire national budget for the rights to human military training manuals. "They keep calling our soldiers legendary," Hyunwoo complained to his staff. "I don't understand why they think our military is so special." His assistant, Ji Young, had been monitoring galactic news networks. "Sir, I think they're scared of us. Every report talks about human military supremacy and invincible Earth forces." "That's ridiculous," Hyunwoo said. "We're a peaceful species. We only fight when we have to defend ourselves." What he didn't realize was that humanity's definition of peaceful was different from everyone else's. Humans thought they were peaceful because they had stopped having major wars between human nations. They didn't count the complete annihilation of interstellar threats as real warfare. The misunderstanding reached its peak when a delegation of alien children visited Earth as part of a cultural exchange program. A young Kethmar named Cheek drew a picture during art class at a human elementary school. The picture showed a human soldier standing next to what looked like a family. Above the soldier, Chick had written "Hero Human Warrior" in careful letters. The human teacher, Ms. Young, asked Chick about the picture. "My parent told me that even the normal human soldiers can save everyone." Chick clicked in broken standard. "They said human warriors protect the whole galaxy now." Ms. Jung showed the picture to other teachers, who showed it to the school principal, who mentioned it to the local news, who reported it to the planetary media network. Soon, Ambassador Hyunwoo was looking at a child's drawing that perfectly captured how the galaxy saw humanity. "Even the normal ones," he read aloud. For the first time, he began to understand what was happening. Humanity had become the galaxy's protectors not because they were trying to conquer anyone, but because everyone else was too afraid to fight when humans were around. The ultimate irony was that humans were making the galaxy more peaceful just by existing. Commander Haewon continued her patrols, never knowing that her ship's presence prevented dozens of conflicts. Private Junho kept accidentally breaking up criminal organizations just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Dr. Soo Young's medical research was being studied by alien military scientists who hoped to make their soldiers even half as tough as normal humans. And on Earth, Jiho was starting his first day of military service. He had hoped to be selected for special forces, but his test scores had only qualified him for regular infantry. "Don't worry about it," his drill instructor, Sergeant Park, told him. "Regular infantry is important work. You'll be doing your part to keep the peace." Jiho felt a little disappointed, but he decided to make the best of it. He didn't know that alien intelligence agencies had already classified his unit as a Class S extinction-level threat, based on their standard training exercises. The galaxy had entered a new era of peace, maintained not by diplomacy or treaties, but by the simple presence of humans who didn't realize how terrifying they were. Wars stopped, not because anyone was forced to stop them, but because nobody wanted to fight when humans might show up. Pirates found new careers. Aggressive species focused on internal development instead of conquest. Trade flourished because commerce was safer than it had ever been. And the humans responsible for this transformation continued to think they were just regular people doing ordinary jobs. Then the greatest peacekeeping force in galactic history was powered by complete and total obliviousness to its own power. Ambassador Hyunwoo finally understood the situation when he received a formal petition signed by representatives of every species in the known galaxy. They weren't asking for protection or military assistance. They were thanking humanity for existing. "To the human species," the petition read, "we express our gratitude for your presence in the galaxy. Your common soldiers have made the universe a safer place simply by being themselves. We hope you will continue to not realize how extraordinary you are, because your humility makes you the perfect guardians of galactic peace." Hyunwoo set down the petition and looked out at the stars. Humanity had set out to explore the galaxy and make friends with other species. Instead, they had accidentally conquered fear itself and brought peace to a million worlds, all while thinking they were just being normal. It was the most human thing possible, saving the galaxy by accident and then being confused about why everyone was making such a big deal about it.